Okay, we're recording. Hey everyone, my name is Whitney and welcome back to an episode of Spastic Chatter. If you didn't know, Spastic Chatter is a podcast meant to feature stories from those in the Cerebral Palsy community, and I get together weekly with individuals with CP like myself to have a kind of uncensored chat, if you will, about what it's really like to have this type of disability. So for this episode, I'm very excited to have Steph Hammerman as a guest. She is the world's first level 2 CrossFit trainer, correct?
Yeah.
And a Nike athlete, a Nike sponsored athlete, and a gym owner. So I'm gonna let Steph introduce herself, and then we'll get into the topics. So take it away, Steph.
Thanks so much for having me, Whitney. Hi, everyone. So my name is Steph Hammerman. I live here in Knightdale, North Carolina. I'm the owner of Hammer Driven Fitness in Knightdale, North Carolina. And right now we're in a little bit of a lockdown with everybody else because of COVID-19, but we're trying to make the best of the situation. I am the world's first level 2 CrossFit trainer with Cerebral Palsy. I've been part of the CrossFit community now for 8 years, which is amazing to say. And I just love sharing my story. I love being able to be an example for those that have no idea what cerebral palsy is, as well as those that live with CP. So I'm so excited to be able to be here with you.
Okay, so let's get into the topics. Okay, can you take me back to? I follow you, so I pretty much I feel like I pretty much know these answers. But for people that don't know, can you take me back to your to the very beginning of your CrossFit journey? What made you want to go into CrossFit?
Yeah, so in 2012, May 3rd to be exact. So I'm just about to come up on a year, which is exciting. 8 years, which is exciting. Yeah. On May 3rd of 2012, I rolled into my first CrossFit gym. I was in my power chair, had my crutches in my hands. And at the time, I was a competitive hand cyclist. So I'd been probably hand cycling for about a year and a half. I was kind of bored of training the same old routine and didn't really want to continue training just in a global gym. So I ended up going to my friend's CrossFit gym that she coached at. She introduced me to the owner, and from there it was kind of a journey of let's see what happens. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least we tried.
That's awesome. So how did you get to be a certified as a trainer?
So it didn't just happen overnight. I was part of the CrossFit community for about a year before I realized that I really not only loved the sport, but I really wanted to be able to see if I could end up coaching people. So I'd never known anybody with any sort of difference to be a coach, but I was introduced to a couple different kinds of adaptive athletes that were also coaches. And at that time, I looked at them and I was like, wait, people are actually listening to what you have to say? And they said, yeah, not only are they listening, but they really care about what we have to say, and we're trying to help as many people as we can. And so at that point in 2013, I really wanted to not only be a better athlete, but I really wanted to start learning how to coach. And so I'd never seen anybody with CP doing what I was doing. So I kind of made things up as I went along, which was pretty cool. I definitely learned a lot from my mistakes. I was not a great coach in the beginning, mainly because I was trying to really fit into this able-bodied way of coaching, whereas I needed to adapt it to my own needs and the way that I could then relate it to somebody else that was in front of me, whether they were adaptive or able-bodied. So I think what was really cool was the first time I ever taught an able-bodied person how to jump rope was the first time I was like, oh, I'm going to be pretty good at this, because it was something that I never could physically do in my life, but getting somebody else to be able to do it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And it's all about like verbal cues, right?
It's not necessarily all about verbal cueing, but it's definitely about having confidence in your voice to know, like, I'll be honest, even if I completely make something up, I need to sound confident, like I know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't do that all the time, but if something doesn't work and you're just like, oh, okay, you have to scrap that and kind of try again. It's not necessarily all verbal cueing. There's some tactile cueing, which is physical touch, but it doesn't happen very often.
Cool. I have a when I was in college, I had friends in the CrossFit community.
Yeah.
And they sent me they would send me your videos, and I'd show them, and then they're like, Winnie, you could totally do this. Like,
Yeah, I want you to take one of my classes.
Yeah.
I want you to take my class on Monday.
Oh, I'll do it. Cause
Yeah.
they're like, Winnie, your body structure is like exactly like hers. Like she just has a little bit more balance than you do. So they would take, because they're going to they were members of a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
We couldn't get my I don't drive, so we couldn't get I couldn't physically get to the gym. So we'd go to the gym at my college.
Yeah.
And we do like workouts too. Like we'd use like your movements for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I gotta open it back up. So you're what came next to the I kind of like jump all over the place, so bear with me.
Fine.
So you became a Nike sponsored athlete. When was this?
So I became a Nike athlete in 2018. So there were a couple steps that happened before that happened, but yeah, I became a Nike athlete in 2018. I signed with them in January of 2018, and I actually just re-signed a new contract in 2020. So that was fun.
That's awesome. So what does that entail? Like, how did you get started, and like what does that look like?
So it really all started because I'll go back just a little bit. So in 2016, I was diagnosed with cancer, and during my cancer treatment, during my cancer chemo journey, I gained a lot of weight and also went through like this transformation of my body, kind of losing muscle tone. And before I was sick, I was really into running and running on the track, running on my crutches. And I used to go through a pair of shoes like every 2 weeks. It was really expensive. And I didn't have a relationship with Nike or anything like that. But I had relationships with other different shoe companies, and it wasn't like a contracted relationship. They were just being nice, but I would literally like rip through a pair of shoes like every 2 weeks. So after I finished chemo and realized I was all good and good to go, I reached out to a friend of mine who I knew was a Nike athlete, and I just said, I don't want anything from you. I just would love to have a contact to be able to talk to somebody at Nike. I don't know what's going to come of it, but if something does, like, that would be really cool. And so I emailed this contact at Nike, and I just said, hey, I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I'm Steph, and this is my story. I really want to be able to get back into running, but I can't find a shoe that can withstand the way that I run, because when I run, I drag my foot. And so they sent me a pair of shoes, and I thought that was going to be like the end of it, right? And they're like, just give us some feedback when you get a chance and let us know how it's doing. Well, that pair of shoes lasted me 6 weeks, which was a really big deal.
Yeah, that's a long time
compared to 2 weeks. And I sent them a whole review and sent them this whole like breakdown of the shoe. And I got another email that was like, hey, we'd love to get on a phone call with you. And so that phone call led to, hey, we want to sign you as an athlete. and they are creating this more adaptive space for Nike, and so they signed me as their first adaptive training athlete. So their training section is meant for CrossFit, and so I was their first adaptive training athlete.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
are you creating your own shoe, or is that?
No. I'm not creating like a Steph the Hammer shoe at all. I'm helping them create more adaptive products. So I'm giving them insight on like what would make something easier for you to get dressed. So it's not necessarily just for me. It's mainly for the overall population.
All right, my phone's connected to my computer.
Oh, that's fine.
That's awesome. So, cause like, I know for me, like, putting on shoes is quite of a. It's not. It's kind of a struggle. It takes like on a good day, it takes like 10 minutes to put it
Yeah.
put one shoe on. That's a good day. So I've noticed that Nike's coming out with even more adaptive stuff. Like, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, they started out with the Fly E's, and then like the shoe that you shared a while back, it had like some kind of Velcro on it.
Yeah, so the Metcon, I can't really talk on it too much because I don't know
Okay.
exactly when it comes out, but there's a new version of the Fly Ease that's going to be a little bit more durable for when you walk and a little bit easier for people to put on. It's going to have Velcro, so it'll make it a lot easier without laces.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your cancer diagnosis. Do you want to go back and talk about
Yeah,
that?
sure. So in 2016, April of 2016, I started to not feel so great, and I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. I was losing a ton of weight at the time and like really lethargic. I wasn't feeling myself, and it was just a really crazy time because you were going from like feeling really fit to then feeling like I was exhausted in a matter of minutes, pretty much. And so in the middle of April, my boyfriend and I had come back from a date. And when I went to go use the restroom, I went to transfer from my chair and to go to the restroom. And I went to like push myself up in my chair and I just screamed. Underneath my armpit hurt so bad. And when I was pushing up on the chair, I just like, I don't know, I guess I put pressure on it or something. And I just screamed so loud. And so that was really the beginning of realizing that there was something wrong. So underneath my armpit, there was like a really big mass, and they didn't really know exactly what it was. And that was a Saturday night. And then that Monday morning, we ended up going to the doctor, and there were little lumps everywhere throughout my body. It was like I went to sleep and I woke up with like a million little chicken pox. Like it was just really weird. So that was April 18th, and then between April 18th and May 23rd, we started to understand that something wasn't right. And on May 23rd, I was officially diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3B, which meant that it was going to it had attacked my spleen, but it hadn't yet gone into my bones. So I got really lucky. I will say that probably the hardest thing that I went through the entire process, like the most painful thing, like hardest thing I went through was this bone marrow test that they did. And I'm so grateful that it wasn't in my bones because I honestly could never do that again. It was it was horrible. But going through cancer was probably one of the most interesting times of my life. At that point, my boyfriend and I were only dating about 5 months. We've been together 5 years now, almost, and we barely knew each other. And you're starting this new relationship, you want to like get to know each other, and then you're like, oh man, we gotta make an entire move. And we moved from Florida to New York pretty quickly. We thought we were going to be in New York for 1 week, and we ended up being there for 8 months. So it was a pretty big transition. But I went through chemo for 29 weeks, and it was a life-changing experience. I look at myself now and like see the person on the screen, and like it's so different, but it's like, to me it's like the same, because I had no hair, I had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, like everything was gone, right? And then I had wondered if it was ever going to come back, and now we're sitting here almost 4 years later, and I feel great. I feel healthy. I feel grateful that I'm alive, and that, although chemo was rough and the situation was tough, it was definitely a learning experience. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I noticed today that you posted that you did a post about body image,
Yeah.
and that's something that, like, the same exact thing that you, like, it seems like we can relate, because I struggle with body image a lot too, and it's like, it's like my thighs are so muscular, and my arms are so muscular that I struggle with it too. So can you kind of talk, because cancer kind of played a part in your
Yeah.
body image, right?
So some people go through chemo. First of all, you're beautiful and you should never think anything different. If you're muscular, fuck, own that shit.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. And I loved being strong. I loved feeling like I was the definition of strength physically. And so you should be really proud of that, because, there are people that, some may not want to look muscular, and there are other people that are like, man, I wish I could look like that, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, you should definitely be proud of that. But some people go through chemo and they lose weight. They're underweight. They're not able to maintain weight. I was the complete opposite. I went from 119 pounds to 165 pounds pretty much within that like 6 month span of time, and it was a lot. It was a huge change for my body. It was a huge change for me mentally. um to know that like my muscles were not as defined as they were before was really tough. To just understand that like I had no control over what was happening to my body at the time.
Yeah.
And so while, yes, it's been 4 years, and some people bounce right back, like that was not necessarily my experience. And I thought it would be important to post that. I don't really know why I chose to post that today. I didn't think it was going to do as well as it did.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of views on it and a lot of comments, and especially women. But I think especially in this time of quarantine, right? Like we're all sitting at home and we're eating shit we're not supposed to eat,
Yes.
and like stressing out, and like
I'm like, I
you
need to work out, but I don't.
yeah, but like you just feel guilty. And so at the end of the day, I just wanted like people to know that it's okay. And I think that having this platform of, you know, I have thousands of people that follow me on a daily basis, and I don't take that for granted. But like that's a lot of pressure too sometimes. You feel like you always have to be on point. You feel like you always have to be quote unquote inspiring or motivational. And sometimes like I just want to say fuck it and like not do
Yeah.
those things. I'm still human, you know?
Like,
So
that's kind of funny, because like everyone sees me like as this inspirational person. Like, I like a little backstory for me. I went from age from when I was born to like age 18. I had to rely on a caregiver to do everything for me,
yeah.
and I had a back pump put in, and from that pump. I went from, long story short, I went from having to rely on somebody to take care of me to being completely independent, uh, and like doing all this stuff. So people like see me as like this inspirational person, but in
Yeah.
reality, like I cuss like a sailor. Like I drink. Like I can't. I feel like I can't show. Like I feel like I have to like pick and choose when I show, and like when they see me out in public, like they talk about how inspiring I am, but like
Yeah.
if I'm at a bar, I'm probably not that inspiring. Probably, yeah.
Just trying to be me, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's what's really cool about it is even now, recently I've started doing these fitness classes online because the gym is closed down. So trying to offer to my members, and more than just my members, like offer to the whole world basically the ability to come into class and enjoy the fitness space. And over the last month or so, I've gotten a lot more people with CP coming into my classes being like, I didn't know I could do any of this, you know? And the other day we had 50 people in one class.
That's really all. That's
It was
amazing.
it was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think you should join. It'd be really fun.
I'm going. I think I'm going to. You're gonna.
Yeah,
After we get off this, we're gonna have to talk about it.
I'll give you all the information.
Yeah, exactly. So you started a YouTube channel, Stay Driven.
Yeah, I did.
Want to talk about that?
Cool. Yeah, so we started the YouTube channel like 30 some odd days ago, something like that, 33 days ago or something crazy. And it's honestly just trying to give people some motivation to stay excited and just keep moving during this time of quarantine, whether you're able-bodied or not. Just kind of giving people a resource to say like, hey, you can do it too. And not necessarily using it as inspiration porn, but really trying to put myself out there and just show people reality of the fact that not everything is perfect. You know, we did an unboxing the other day and I like dropped the box. And I was like, should we edit that out? No, it's like really, it's fun. So we're just coming up with different ideas and, just trying to keep people educated, motivated, and most of all, just like keeping them engaged. People are bored at home, man. So if I can bring you something that's not only educational, but something fun to keep you kind of entertained, I'm all about that. So we just reached 100 subscribers yesterday. And that was really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So thanks for following that.
So well, I follow for Able to. I've been posting. I've been like, I think I reposted one of your I think I wrote about one of your videos.
You're awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks. But so do you have any advice for other people that want to get in the gym? Or
first and foremost, my advice to anybody, whether you have CP or not, is to just move. Moving is so important. Whether you have to stay seated because, your situation leaves you wheelchair bound, or you're just not used to moving every day. It is so important for your mental health, so important for your physical health, just to move, whether that's dancing for 5 minutes or just moving your arms or just getting the blood flowing is so important. So taking the idea of a fitness class, and some people can be intimidated by fitness class, and I don't blame them. I would say at least just try it. Try something that'll keep you motivated, keep you moving, and keep you excited, because when we get bored and we kind of get down on ourselves, that then starts this downward spiral of things that could not be so great. So just finding anything that makes you happy, whether it's cooking, whether it's dancing, or just hopping on a Zoom call with somebody you haven't talked to in a while, making sure that you're continually learning is so important. But if you do want to get into the CrossFit space, get into the fitness space, just ask questions. Don't be afraid. You're going to look different, and that's okay. You have to accept that because everybody looks different. So just accept it.
Yeah, that's good advice. And what would you say if someone like reacted negatively to someone that wants to be in the, like, if they went out and put themselves out there and they got a negative response, would it just be
Screw it. Yeah. Go try again.
Yeah.
Not everybody's you're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody likes me. And like that's something that I've had to learn over the last couple of years. I'm not good at that because I want everyone to like me.
Yeah.
And I'm such a people person. But the reality is not everybody's going to like you and not everybody's going to feel comfortable, being around you. But at the same time, do you need that in your life? I don't need that in my life. So screw it and move on.
Okay. Good advice. Okay, so do you have anything else you want to add? All of your links and stuff will be in the description for people who want to follow you.
Yeah, and if you guys have any, I would ask you, is there something that you want to see on the YouTube channel? Is there something that really helps you as a viewer? Is there something that I could be doing better? I'd love to be able to hear that.
Is it a direct question to me or?
Yeah, I would love to hear it as somebody that follows it.
I'm all about function. Like if you the way I learned to be independent is I watch other people do certain movements, and I have, like, to be honest, there's nothing cerebral palsy related when it comes to like functionality. There's nothing cerebral palsy related on YouTube.
Yeah.
So what I did is I googled quadriplegics, and like I kind of just, even though
that's so interesting.
I'm technically a quadriplegic, right? But I googled spinal cord injury quadriplegics, and I kind of just mimicked what they did.
Yeah.
But I kind of just tweaked it.
What are some things functionality wise that you would want to see on the internet?
That's a good question. You're putting me on the spot, Steph. I don't know. More workouts geared towards functionality. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'll get to it.
Yeah. Okay, so just to close out, Steph's information, all of her information will be in the description below. If you want to give a shout out to where people can follow you in the video.
Yeah, people can follow me at Steph the Hammer on all the platforms. So just as it sounds, Steph with a PH. So STEPH, the THEHAMMER on all of the platforms. And if you send me a message, I'll be more than happy to respond.
Okay. And thank you so much for being on the podcast. And for anyone watching this that wants to be on an episode of Spastic Chatter, there's always a email link in the description. So again, thanks so much, Stephanie. Oh, Steph.
It's fine.
Sorry. And check back next week for next week's episode.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.